Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan, and I'm not trying to sell you anything today. My goal today is to keep you safe, to keep you on the road, and this information I'm sharing today applies to not just towable RVs, also motorhomes, your vehicle, horse trailers, cargo trailers, whatever the case may be. A very common question I see, and with a lot of misinformation and wrong information shared out there all the time, is what pressure am I supposed to keep my tires at on my camper, car, truck, whatever? And most of the time, the general response most people say is, well, it's written right on the tire. You just walk over there. And if you look at this tire, Goodyears are very nice about this. It says in big letters, 65 PSI, or whatever the case may be, whatever PSI is appropriate to that tire. The thing is, that's not necessarily the PSI that you should be putting in those tires. That is the maximum PSI for which this tire is rated to handle safely. For the maximum, for the recommended PSI that you should have in your RV, vehicle, whatever, go over to these little stickers over here, and one of them is going to be a tire and loading information sticker. Now, admittedly, on towable RVs, the PSI rating on the tire and that sticker are almost always one and the same, but not always. It is nice that usually works out, but I tell you what, a lot of times in vehicles, you will find that the recommended PSI from the engineers does not necessarily match the maximum PSI of the tire itself. And wouldn't you know it, I actually have a good example of one of those mismatches here with my own personal vehicle, as I love to refer to it, the Korean Mini Cooper. It's a European muscle car imported from Australia. By way of Antarctica. Anyway, it's a rare edition. But if you look at the tires on my vehicle, they say maximum load 44 PSI. But if I open the driver's door jamb, and that's where you find that information on vehicles. On RVs, usually those stickers are just plastered right on the side like we saw in that Rockwood. But on vehicles, they're usually right inside the driver's door jamb. They're actually, I believe, required to be there. It will say, this vehicle, the suspension, the ride, and handling is tuned to be best handled at 33 PSI per tire. And sometimes the front and the rear tires may have different pressures. It depends how each trailer, each motorhome, each vehicle is designed. Now, let's say I put more than 33 PSI in here. Am I going to hurt anything? No, not necessarily. I could go up to 44 PSI without adversely affecting my tires. I may, however, be adversely affecting the ride and handling of that vehicle as its, size and suspension and other factors were tuned. Now, if the tires aren't exactly tuned or in sync, I suppose you could say, with the suspension, that could mean a little bit of extra stress or rattling or something is getting transferred somewhere else where maybe it's not exactly intended to be. So there could be some long-term, more advanced wear and tear things that kind of result in that. In a towable RV, if you have overpressurized tires, or you could actually be putting rounded bald spots in the middle of the tire. If they're underinflated, you could be causing some tire scrub and wearing off the outsides of the tire tread first. Again, what you really want to look for here is not specifically what's on the tire itself. You want to look at what is on the manufacturer's recommended, tire and loading information sticker. That is highly regulated stuff. They can't get that right. In point of fact, you may have seen in some of my safety recall videos, which is one of the things that spurred this along, there have been a couple manufacturers who accidentally had incorrect information on their tire pressure and loading sticker. And that is enough of a safety recall. They are required to issue new stickers to make sure that lines up correctly. Because if you underinflate your tires, again, you could sacrifice ride and handling, you could sacrifice safety, you could increase the chance of blowouts or premature tire wear and tear. And that's what we're trying to do for you today. We're trying to encourage you just to go out, double check your stickers, get one of those handy little tire pressure checkers and slap it on the tires. Make sure your vehicles, your trailers, all that stuff is riding properly. And here's one more little tidbit for you. When you take a look at these, you'll actually see that they're listed as cold tire pressure. You are supposed to be checking the PSI in your tires as part of a pre-trip, not a necessarily like a post-trip thing. If you're already going down the road, it's already kind of too late. You need to be checking this stuff ahead of time. And also, as a little bonus feature, this sticker, especially on vehicles, is where you tend to find your maximum cargo and or payload rating, and that is one of the most important factors, especially when you're trying to determine if a truck is capable of towing a fifth wheel. And that is typically the number one failure point of half tons trying to pull fifth wheels. They don't have enough payload rating, but that's an entirely different topic for an entirely different day. For now, I'd just simply like to say thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you found this useful. Hope you've learned something. If you know somebody that this might be beneficial for, please hit the share button or copy and paste the link into something, say like your Facebook or your social media groups, because as I have seen, there are a lot of people who do not know where to get the correct tire pressure information, even though it's literally something they walk by multiple times every time they go camping or driving down the road. So if you appreciate the way that we go out of our way to give you information like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave us some comments, let us know. Thank you, Haylett RV, or any questions you might have, and I'll do my very best to try to fill in any blanks that I might have left. And as always, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy Haylett camping, everyone.